Hello everyone, what's going on? As the title says, it's happening right now. The road seemed smooth, but it became rough and muddy really fast. And once you land in mud, the tires start spinning and you get stuck. But eventually you find a solution and it starts moving again. So here we are. The biggest news of all, Will and the Evil Duck is out right now on iOS and Android. So go download it right now. You can find it on the App Store, obviously, and on the Google Play Store. The links are in the description. The first chapter is free. You can also try the speedrun mode, which is pretty fun. Pause the video and go download it. Tell your friends about it. All support is super helpful and can hopefully push the game up the charts. By the way, before we go into some story time, make sure to subscribe because the completed project means that new stuff is on the way and you don't want to miss any of that. Really cool stuff is coming. Alright, now that you have downloaded the game and you are still here, let me tell you about all that has happened during the last few weeks or months. The big picture is this. The validation and testing process on the different app stores was a disaster. 2, I was ill 2 times, and worst problem of all, my Apple developer account had issues. This will give you another view of the kind of issues that can pop up during the development of a game or during the launch of a game. So here's the business model of the game. The first chapter is free and you buy the full game with an in-app purchase. Implementing in-app purchases is much more work than I expected. Not only that, not one single tutorial is doing it correctly. In Unity, you have this in-app purchase button component. Put it on the button, set up some handlers and products, and you are supposed to be done. But this is a completely wrong approach. Even somewhere in the Unity documentation, there is a small note that says, hey, you should definitely implement your own purchase manager. So I started digging into it, downloaded all the examples, I studied all the difference between how each store and platform work, and this took time, several days. This is worth a tutorial because no one is showing how to do it correctly. It's actually scary because they are playing with people's money. So implementation is one thing, you have to test in-app purchases on the real device. Let's start with Android. There you create a closed release and can also create a Zenbox user that will be able to buy the products without spending money. It's a Zenbox environment. The problem is that I do not have yet any kind of priority treatment on the Google App Store. I have to wait 2 to 3 days for my release to be accepted, then I can finally test it on the real device in the Zenbox. You know how bug fixing works. You need a few tries to fix and polish everything. Translation, I made a few releases and waited a lot. Now, iOS. Testing in-app purchases is similar. You need to make a release, wait for validation, create a Zenbox user, and test it. Since I had already tested the Android version, I knew that all was supposed to work. I just had to validate the iOS version to be 100% sure. But to test in-app purchases, you have to agree to their terms and conditions for paid apps. It's fairly easy and all is explained online. I did not check much how much I'm allowed to share about this. So the short version is that I was stuck at that step. I was in contact with Apple support, which are nice people, but this meant even more waiting. That's the worst thing, waiting and being uncertain when the issue would be resolved. During the last 2 months of 2022, I also caught some bad cold and this forced me to chill 2 times 1 week. In the beginning of this project, I said that it is going to take 1 year and I was not that far off overall. I mean, the game has been finished and has been in feature lock mode in 2022, so there's this, but with all the delays, there was no way to do a proper release the same year. Doing a surprise release is total suicide. A launch has to be planned and there has to be a big marketing push behind it. So I'm not an expert in that area, but I try my best to learn with each new product. If you stay until here, well, I salute you and I hope you gain some values from my adventures. As always, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time and go download the game if you haven't done so yet. It's on the App Store for Apple and Google Play Store for Android. You can try it for free. Link is you know where.